Welcome everybody, Todd Costello from Remax Center Realty. It is August of 2025, time for this month's value message. I want to spend a little bit of time on the demand rate, how it's tracked so far this year, a quick recap of the last 5 years, and talk a little bit about why it matters. So basically, each season we start in January tracking the numbers, and the demand rate is the ratio between active sellers and buyers, active listings versus pending listings. Pending means there was a buyer for it. So we start out at 66%. This 66% basically means there was 0.66 of a buyer for every seller. And we peaked in April, with the demand peaked in this year so far in April at 0.92 of a buyer for every one seller. So this was about a 1-to-1 ratio, and that was peak season. So this is 2025 year to date. As of July, as of right now, the demand rate is 59%, which means there's a little bit more than a half of a buyer for every seller. That's vitally important to understand when you're setting expectations for your seller clients. You want a realtor that, number one, understands these numbers, and then number two, we have to set the appropriate expectations. If your home is not selling in July with a demand rate of 59%, and you're on the open market, is it more likely to sell in August, September, October, when the demand rate is likely to be even lower? Of course not. So you need to align with a realtor that generally understands this. It's not about a dog and pony show or making you feel good. It's about setting realistic expectations so your goals could be met. Promising you the world and not meeting those expectations just leaves you disappointed and costs you a lot of money. So let's look a little further. Let's look back. If we look at the July demand rate for the last 5 years, in 2021, the market was bananas. Mortgage rates were at under 3%. There were nearly 2 buyers for every seller. As the interest rates have increased, the demand rate has gone down. So 5 years ago, 199, and the demand rate for today is 59%. So bottom line, you just need to understand that this affects you as a seller. The other thing is a couple of other points on demand rate and how it affects you. As the demand rate goes down, the average days on market goes up. So it is going to take you potentially longer to secure a buyer. And you need to figure that into your planning, depending on where you're moving to, so on and so forth. Another little fun fact, which is kind of scary, the National Association of Realtors just released year to date the number of transactions that the seller and buyer agree to terms. They go sale pending, that then never close. Those deals fall through, is averaging about 13%. And to me, that's terrifying. Bottom line, would you get on an airplane that's 87% likely to get there and 13% likely to crash? Of course you wouldn't do that. I tracked my numbers for my full 30-year career, and the number of transactions on average that I'm part of, whether I'm representing sellers or buyers, that fall through over a 30-year period is less than 1%. Now, does it mean that I'm perfect? Does it mean that things don't happen sometimes? Of course not. It just means that an agent that is a professional and has minimum standards and follows systems and procedures as they manage their clients' needs removes a lot of risk. So these are just things to keep in mind when setting expectations for selling your home. It is getting much more serious, and you need a realtor that is much more serious and understands the probability that is going to affect your outcome. So that's number one, the demand rate. This month's quick links, this is a great quick link. Take a look. The Whitehall Road Regional Park is open. My wife and I went over there the other day, and it is spectacular. Even the children playground, it's almost like going to Disneyland. The rides are so cool. So I would highly recommend you check out Whitehall Road Regional Park. It is a jewel of Center County. And then this month in the email, click on the 60-second links. I'm just going to share some realtor caution words. Words that you might hear from your realtor that I would say, that could be a caution. Am I interviewing the correct agent if they're using this type of terminology? So that's this month's message. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next month.